Patrick Flanery and Norman Reedus.
Can y'all hear me? Does this work? Nice. Yeah. Boom. Alright, let's get this party started. Who's got some questions? Yes, right there.
My question is for Norman Reedus. Since your character in The Walking Dead is not from the comic, do you get more freedom in your portrayal than the other actors?
Yeah, I guess so. I can sleep with whoever I want, kill whoever I want. Yeah, I think so. I mean, one good thing about being on one of the good things about being on the show is that they've helped me, or let me help develop the character from scratch. So, you know, you kind of get to do these little subtle things and they turn into storylines, you know. So it's good, yeah, you know. Sure.
Yes. Say it again. Because a buddy of mine is a producer and he asked me to do it, and I thought, hell yeah, let's do it. I had a good time doing it too. Yes. Yeah, the question is, did I have fun working on the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and a favorite scene? There was so much stuff going on. I mean, obviously that was my first big gig. You know, if it wasn't for Young Indy, I wouldn't be here today. It opened every door that's open to me today. And probably the most memorable thing that happened is we were filming in the Congo. When I say the Congo, I mean the Congo. Landed in Nairobi, took 2 Twin Otter aircrafts, about 3 hours out, did a low altitude pass to make the gazelles get out of the way, landed, took land cruises another 3 hours to the Tana River, took canoes about another 4 miles down the Tana River to where it intersected the Indian Ocean. And one of the most memorable things I've ever experienced in my life, we met some Masai Mara, some natives that had never seen white people, that didn't know what video was, and I remember I traded my Walkman, and 2 cassettes, Jimi Hendrix Smash Hits and Led Zeppelin Remastered. I traded them, my Walkman and 2 cassettes, and I remember the first time that I put the headphones on, this guy became my friend because we were playing hacky sack. Me and the Masai Mara were out there playing hacky sack, and it was blowing their mind. We became really good friends, although we couldn't speak the same language. And I remember when I put the headphones on, the first thing he did, and I pushed play, this is exactly what he did. He went, oh, you could just see it was the most wonderful thing. And also when I videotaped the campfire and I would play the videotape of the fire, he was like afraid to touch it. It was like he didn't know if it was going to be hot. It was crazy. And in exchange, he gave me 5 Ethiopian crosses that I still have this day. That they melt them, they melt the silver, they bang them out, they design them themselves, so I left with that. To me, it was the best deal in the world. To him, it was the best deal in the world, getting like a Walkman and audio cassettes that I could replace, you know, easily. And I left with 2 Ethiopian crosses, so that was a mind-blowing experience. You know, I traveled the world, I saw things I'd never see again, so it was killer.
I've been told that if they keep the mic very close to your mouth, it should work wonders.
It still doesn't work wonders. Who's next?
This is a question for Norman. If there was an actual zombie outbreak, what would your strategy be, and how long do you think you'd
I'd probably last a week. I would climb to the top floor of a really nice hotel, try to watch South Park, and probably just cry until it was over.
Sorry.
trouble. Hi. When
Just yell it out. It's not working.
Just yell it. Loud.
when you are on the set, are you when you are on the set, are you afraid about the other zombies?
Am I afraid of zombies?
Wow.
Sorry.
When you are on the set, are you afraid about the other guys, zombies, and other monsters?
Am I afraid of zombies and mustard? Is that what it was? I love mustard. No, I mean, you know, you'll go to the craft service table and there'll be a bunch of zombies drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes and bullshitting. But I know the way that Greg Nicotero makes our zombies is he's really, really good at it. I mean, he's an Emmy Award-winning special effects artist, but he makes them, you see this sad, sick, dying person behind the monster, you know what I mean? So those are scary, because I don't want to get old and die. But no, on set, people just, you know, we're normal people, just hang out. I think that was right. Was that the right question? Okay.
I gotta admit, even for me, it must be weird being at lunchtime and seeing all the zombies with their makeup and everything, just eating macaroni and cheese like it's normal. Yeah. Who's got another question?
Yeah, I know you have sisters. I'm not sure if you have brothers or sister siblings, but what is it like playing twins? And I know how much fun you had in Boondock Saints. It was amazing that you wrestled in a crate with him. Do you have that rapport with each other offset as well?
Yeah. I've known Reedus since before we even shot the first Boondock. So, I mean, we've been friends now for 15 years. You know, we've been, you know, I see him all the time. He's got his motorcycle in my garage. We know each other very well, you know. And so it does make it easier whenever you're playing that kind of relationship when you already have it, you know. But I've known him for eons. I got so much dirt on this guy, it would blow your mind. Having said that, he's got dirt on me too, so I gotta shelve it out very limitedly. Who's the next? Yes.
Being asked this before, what was it like working with Billy Connolly?
We got one right here. What is it? She asked, what character have you played where you feel the closest to the character?
Wow. I'm a lot like Daryl, actually. I'm a lot not like Daryl as well. Very insecure, not well in crowds. I don't trust anybody. I'm not good with the ladies, really. You know, 6 Ways to Sunday. 6 Ways to Sunday a lot, like that character. I freak out. That's like me. Murphy, I'm a lot like Murphy. I like to cause problems, you know. Travis. I did all the artwork in that, by the way. So I'm a lot like that guy. Yeah.
I've always thought you were like Travis.
Yeah, I think you bring a lot of yourself. If you do it correctly, you bring a lot of yourself, you know, in little ways to whatever you do.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a part of you that's in just about every character. You know, some more than others, but I think if you don't have carnal knowledge of that life experience, then it comes off really fake and inauthentic. So there's a part of you in every character, really. You're very well.
You know what it was like to work with Billy Connolly?
Killer. I mean, the guy's got one of the quickest minds I've ever sat next to. I mean, he truly is, and his life experiences are second to none. This guy's got stories with David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and he tells us stories like I'm saying, yeah, so me and Norman were here. He's like, yeah, so I was having lunch with Margaret Thatcher, and she was telling me about this political, and you're like, and he's not kidding. He's dead serious. I mean, he's truly a gem. I think me and Reedus have both worked with people that we really don't want to work with again, and then there's people that like you'd go to their dinner anytime if it was a 5-hour drive. Billy's one of those cats. You know, he's just a really genuine cat.
Yeah, he had a friend of his that was doing an art show, and they were making communion wafers, you know, like that thing, and he was making fake ones, and the name of the show was "I Can't Believe It's Not Jesus." And, like, he's awesome. He's super, and the ladies love Louis. They freak out. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, you've both been involved in shows in the past that were shot almost back to back or almost at the same time. Is it difficult to juggle your schedule and also still have a family life?
Yeah, it's really hard. And you know, it's hard to have like girlfriends and stuff like that. Because you're constantly rolling, you know. So there's that, and I have a son in New York, so I'm constantly flying back to see my son. We just had a Comic-Con in New York, and I had like 5,000 people sing happy birthday to him. It was his birthday. It was awesome. But yeah, he's real proud of me. I'm real proud of him, and we see each other as much as possible. But yeah, it's all that shit's really hard, to be honest.
You know, I mean, there's really not a lot of room to complain when you have jobs like me and Reedus have, because, you know, I think we're very fortunate to do stupid things on camera and get paid for it. So there's not a lot of room to complain. But having said that, yeah, with such an erratic lifestyle, you know, you're flying to a different place. Sometimes your shooting schedule is all nights and you're sleeping during the day. Sometimes your shooting schedule is all day and you're sleeping during the nights. So it does make things a little difficult. Having said that, I certainly don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I wouldn't trade it for the world. I absolutely wouldn't trade it for the world.
As the Boondock Saints, how was it to go back into the character after being away for 10 years by making the second movie?
Nada. Niente. It was, you know, I mean, it was something that we did 10 years ago, but I mean, we've lived and breathed it for quite some time, so it wasn't that difficult. I mean, it was it just fit like an old glove, you know, to be honest.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, what? Yeah, it felt like we were getting back on the same old bicycle. The enthusiasm was there, and all the same heads were in the room. It was fun. I mean, the second story was much different than the first story. There was a bunch of new characters, and you know, I think Troy spent a lot of time with the new guys on part 2, and kind of just let us do our thing again. But yeah, it was fun.
I have a question for Norman. Did you have to learn to be skilled in crossbow for Walking Dead? Because you use it so many times.
Yeah, I was explaining this yesterday. There's yeah, we have a really good weapons expert, and he teaches you all these different weapons, and AK-47s and M16s and all sorts of fun stuff. You know, in Boondock we shot lots of bullets, but the crossbow it's sort of a weird weapon, because it's the type of weapon that you go someplace high, hopefully, pull out all your bolts, you lay them down, and you pick things off, you know. Sometimes in the show they'll write it as if it was an automatic weapon, where you just come running in and just blast shit. And it doesn't. That becomes hard, because that becomes more of like a math problem. I was explaining this yesterday, but you can hold the crossbow, but you can't shoot an arrow on camera. They put a digital arrow in, but they have to see you put the arrow in the crossbow. So you have to pull your thing, put your thing in the thing. You got to point the thing, drop it. Put it back up, throw the arrow away, dry fire it, run over, take another one, stick it in a zombie's face, let go of it, pull your knife, stab one, let go of that, grab this, pull this out, put it back in the crossbow, aim it, put it out of camera, put it back up with no arrow, dry fire, pick up the, I mean, it's like, it's kind of a math problem. So I mean, he keeps us safe. You know, there's a bunch of people running around with weapons, but the crossbow it's a tricky one, you know.
Yes.
Is there a particular skill you want to learn for a new project you're doing?
I'm still doing the same project. Let's see. I did a film called Sunlight Junior right before season 3 started, and another one called Hello Herman. They were both very different, but there wasn't really a skill. I mean, I went real, sort of a different kind of white trash for Sunlight Junior. I think my first line to Naomi Watts was, "I can smell your pussy through this glass." So sorry for all that who heard that, but you know, it was constantly like, I'm sorry about tomorrow, I'm sorry about earlier, you know. But as far as like a skill, no, I'm still doing Walking Dead, so yeah, I'm learning the math problems. So.
I'm doing a film with an Indian director named Vinod Chopra, and I play a guy in a wheelchair, so I'm having to get familiar with that, operating a wheelchair as if I've been doing it for years. So it's a different skill set altogether, and that goes to say with all films. You know, every time you take on a character, they have a different world and a different life and different life experiences. So you kind of got to familiarize yourself with that, so it doesn't look like your first day doing it. You know, that is one of the technical tasks in movie making.
See, Roman already met us Belgian beer. The question is, when you're on tour, do you also visit the cities that you are in? Like Ghent, did you already visit it or not?
We were off the plane about 15 minutes and we were in Ghent at a place called Charlatan. Yeah? We went there and then we walked across the street to that sign with the monkey. We went to the monkey bar and then we went to Gloria. So yes, short answer, yes. Before we even came to the convention, we went to Ghent. I wanted to go to Leonidas Chocolates, but they were closed. So hopefully before I get on the plane, I can get a nice supply of chocolate, because I'm not afraid of chocolate. He likes chocolate.
The best chocolate in Ghent, by the way, is from Holterbeek.
Say it again?
The hot on Holterbeek.
That's a commercial break, never mind. I'd like to know from Norman, I saw you this week on the television in Blade 2. What was it like to work with someone like Wesley Snipes?
Wesley's awesome. He does all his own martial arts. He travels with a big posse of people, and he's really invested in what he's working in. He really wants all the. I mean, he takes an executive producer role on that as well, and he really asks the actors what they need to do the best performances they need. And you know, the film was in the very capable hands of Guillermo del Toro, who was also awesome. Like, Guillermo would sit behind the monitor during Wesley's fight scenes and go pow, 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 like a little kid. His sort of attitude is infectious, so everybody's very into what they're doing. But Wesley's great. I loved Wesley. The scene where I punched Chris Christopherson, I was like, oh man, how do I do this? I love Chris. I don't even want to do it. And he was like, hit that motherfucker like you hate him. You know, he's great. So Wesley's awesome.
Speaking of martial arts.
Go ahead.
Speaking of martial arts, that's your cup of tea, isn't it, Sean Patrick?
Yeah. I have 2 martial arts academies in Los Angeles. It's something that I've been doing since I was 9 years old, so it's a huge part of my life, yeah.
So would you be able to kick Wesley's ass, or would it be the other way around?
No. I can kick no one's ass. There'll be no ass kicking.
Let me expand on that answer just a little bit. Sean and I did a USO tour where we went to Dubai and Bahrain and Ethiopia and Djibouti and all these places, and we met the military, who a lot of them are pretty big guys, but a lot of them train martial arts. So I sat at each military base and watched Sean take on rows of military who were just like waiting to get in the ring with Sean. Like, my turn, my turn, my turn. And Sean would, first off, he would do all of them in a row and then move to the next town, do all of them in a row. But he would crawl up them, wrap his legs around their neck, choke them to the ground as he was explaining what he was doing. And I mean, like hundreds of people in a row. So Sean's kind of a badass, to be honest here. No, seriously, the guy could fuck you up. So.
You know, it's something I've been doing since I was 9 years old, and we do teach the combatives to the military, so it was a wonderful opportunity to go over there and train with the troops. It was just killer, you know, to meet the guys and get an opportunity to roll around with them. So it was a wonderful experience. But it's a very big part of my life.
Hey. In your career, you've played a lot of characters, a lot of roles, but what is a role or character that you really would like to play, and if they offered it to you, you'd be like, yeah, I want that?
I don't know, something like Willy Wonka or something, that would be fun. I don't know. I would say a Western, but I'm terrified of horses, so that wouldn't work. Maybe like... Yeah, I'm kind of a wuss. God, I don't know. I mean, playing bad guys are really fun, but I think I've killed somebody in everything I've ever done, you know? I don't know, maybe I'll play Jesus. Who knows?
You know, I mean, bad guys are always more fun, believe it or not, than the good guys. But as to separate it from a character, it's not like some character like, do you want to play the president or do you want to play Willy Wonka? It's about the writing. You know, it could be Willy Wonka, but it could be shit writing, so you don't want to play it. It's not about playing Batman. It's about playing Batman that's written amazingly. You know, so it's really not about the character. It's about how that character comes to life, and when you read it, if it speaks to you. You know, there's not like just one name, like, I want to play FDR. I want to play him in this situation articulated by this writer, you know? There's just so many variables that go into it that it makes it a complex answer. Who's next? Yes.
Hello, my question is for Norman regarding Walking Dead. I'm sorry. What made you accept the role of Daryl, and also were you familiar with the comics before the TV television series?
Frank Darabont says, hey, pick up that newspaper, and you go, fuck yeah.
I didn't know the comics before, but there's this thing called pilot season, and it's in Los Angeles. I live in New York, but I flew to Los Angeles to do pilot season. It's where every Ponce actor on the planet goes and sees what good television is. But it was lawyer script, Dr. Buddy script, and then Walking Dead. And I read that and I was like, it stood out as being an amazing project. And then I saw the list of names that were attached, and it was Frank Darabont and Gail Ann Hurd and Greg Nicotero, and I just thought, this is a no-brainer, you know. And then, can I get in on it? And they had me come in and read Merle's lines, but I heard Merle was already cast. So I didn't quite know what I was doing, but I wasn't going to not do it. And then I came home, and by the time I got home, I heard Frank wanted to see me read something and saw me read Merle and wrote that part for me. So, of course, you know. But I didn't know the comic book before, and I started reading the comic book after, but it's kind of its own animal right now, you know. Like, Andy Lincoln is Rick Grimes to me, and he's so good as Rick Grimes, and so I kind of don't want to know what's going to happen, you know, so I don't really...
You know, there's so many amazing people. You know, Norman and I have had careers out of doing obscure movies that a lot of people don't get to see, you know. I mean, you guys know Boondock Saints, but I know he's done some films that he's really proud of that you guys have never seen. I've done some films that I'm really proud of you guys have never seen. I've also done some films I hope you guys never see that are piles of shit. But, you know, I mean, when it's not like we don't have, like, huge names like Tom Cruise or whatnot. So, like, a guy like Frank Darabont and Nicotero, those guys, if they're doing something, holy shit, that's a big deal, you know? I mean, it's a huge deal. I remember when Norman told me, he goes, so I'm doing this walk, I'm like, oh, brother, it's going to be fucking huge, man. Hey, it's Walking Dead. It's a huge comic. And those guys involved, that's like a no-brainer. You know, that's like when Spielberg calls, you just say yes. You don't even ask to read the script. You go, what time do you want me to show up, you know? It's kind of like that. It's a great, great project to be a part of. Regardless of where you're at in your career, that's a huge deal. Walking Dead's a killer project.
Hi. And Boondock Saints 2, there's an nice line like "Ding dong, motherfucker, ding dong." Did it really take a long time to go up with, or did you guys get a pitch in that?
Actually, it was written. It was written as a couple things, and we bounced a couple things around. Yeah, there was a lot on Boondock. There's a lot of stuff that's written on the day, you know. It was a whoop-ass fajita. It was whoop-ass fajita, and then and it was all kinds of things. That like some of them, I'm not kidding you, were so stupid. We just laughed because of the stupidity. And then ding dong motherfucker. That was like one of 80 takes that we all made.
I remember that. Who ordered the whoop-ass fajitas? And we were like, that's so stupid, right? And then he had Cliffy do it like, ding dong, motherfucker. Hey.
No.
And then Cliff was like, was that fucking stupid? Like, was that retarded? We're like, a little bit. Yeah.
Fucking whoop-ass fajitas.
A compound question. In Los Angeles, there's quite a lot of martial arts schools where stuntmen go or actors go in order to learn something about whatever fight scene they're involved in. When I have a workshop, for example, I know Cifolino Santo has his academy not too far.
El Segundo.
There you go. I've never been in a workshop where he actually took heed of any techniques you might be needing in film or on TV. So when you're practicing martial arts, or when you're maybe not practicing martial arts fully or full time, but you have to think about the fight scene, is it difficult to separate the techniques you have to use on television or in a film from the actual real techniques you would be using normally? And do you keep that in the back of your mind anyway?
Yeah, I'll give you the short answer. Everything is different. What works in the real world has nothing to do with what you see on television. For example, if I wanted to punch Norman, it would be from this range, and it would go so quick and so close that you wouldn't see it. But on camera, you want to see somebody cock and make a big swing, and nothing you see on TV is how a fight happens. Fights last 4 seconds and they're over. There's no 50-second, a guy takes 86 punches to the face, no bruising, no... First of all, a lot of people think that you can just box with bare gloves. You'll break your fingers in your hand. It's just like hitting a concrete wall. How many times do you think you could slug a concrete wall without breaking your hand? Once. You can't really connect on the human face 50 times without shattering your hand. It just doesn't happen. So there's really nothing the same in a real world fight and what you see on TV. You have to telegraph everything. And part of martial arts on TV is not actually throwing a punch, it's knowing how to accept a punch. Like, it's not the magic of knowing how to throw it, but whenever I punch Norman, to make it believable, it's how he receives it. Boom, and his head goes back, and so it's a choreographed orchestration that has nothing to do with real-world fighting skill at all. But good question.
Who wants the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a question for Norman. So, but what about the part of Daryl Dixon do you like most? I mean, there's the crossbow, there's the motorcycle.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you know...
Fucking coolest character on TV.
I mean, you know, it's. I have a lot of cool toys on this show. Those were all Frank's ideas, the crossbow and the wings on the vest and the bike and all. But I think the things I like about him the most are the things that I'm kind of discovering about him. You know, he's like, I know after Cherokee Rose, that episode, a lot of girls liked Daryl, you know. But it's interesting for me because, you know, like I was saying before, you get to, like, for movies you go here to here, but in TV you kind of move like this and you drop little seeds and you hope that they turn into trees and stuff. And when people are paying attention and the writers are paying attention, those little seeds that are trees become storylines. Like when Carol, after Andrea shoots him in the head, which she got death threats after that, by the way, which is kind of cool. But Carol says, "You're just as good as everybody else," and she leans down to kiss him on the forehead. I flinched, like don't hit me, and that wasn't in the script. but now there's a storyline that I'm an abused child. So all these things that I'm kind of discovering that I can do with him are starting to become my favorite parts. I mean, you could just stand there with the crossbow and look cool. My mom would look cool on the crossbow. But it's these little things that I'm getting to do with him that I'm really starting to like him a lot. He's kind of like a little kid in a lot of ways. You know, I always sort of describe him as like a wet dog in an alley, you know, and it's raining, and you go to pet the dog and he'll snap at you. But if you feed him and get him inside, he'll just follow you forever. So he's kind of got this little thing about him. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I like about Daryl, to be honest.
Who's ready for the final question?
My question is for both of you. Would you like to direct something? I know you are doing short movies, but would you like to do something like an episode on the series, or to go from actor to director?
I don't know that I want to direct one of the Walking Dead episodes. I don't know that I could do Daryl unless I wasn't in it. You know, then maybe I could. But I have a bunch of scripts that I've been working on that are feature-length scripts, and every time I get them to a certain point, people read them and they're like, they're too weird to make this movie, and you know, we're never going to cast somebody as, you know, some tranny who is like 6'4" and 400 pounds that's going to, like, you know, have sex with 12 people. It's like, I like to do more artsy projects that don't really have to be sold to somebody, or somebody has to put all their money into it and we have to sell it to different regions and we have to take out the cuss words. Like, I'd rather direct things that are just more, you know, art pieces, basically. So I have this website called Big Bold Head, and I sell downloadable short films I wrote and directed and edited for just charity. Like, I never see $1 of any of that money. It just goes to various charities. So I like art projects. I've always done art projects, and then this seems more like a fun job. But the other stuff, like, you know, I made a life-size sculpture out of myself out of 8-pound polyurethane foam and filled it full of rats in a big plexiglass box. You know, I like doing shit like that on my downtime. You know, I didn't even answer a fucking question.
One project, one's called Sunshine Superman that I've actually set it up a number of times. I've sold the project a number of times, but that's how Hollywood is. Now I have the rights back, so I'm trying to get off the ground. But it looks like I have another project that I'm going to get off the ground even sooner than that. It's called the Untitled Mickey Kelly Project, and it's something I've been developing for a couple of years, and it's just now reached fruition. So that's in the future. And thanks very much, guys, for showing up. It's truly an honor to have, you know, a few hundred people gather around just to ask you questions about your career. Certainly, you guys wouldn't do this if we were digging ditches. So we do know how lucky we are, you know, to have jobs like this. And thank you guys for being fans of the stupid things that we do. We love it. We appreciate you guys. So God bless you guys. Thanks for everything.
The Boondock Saints.
Take care, you guys. Bye, y'all. Bye.